It is 1945. The era of Japanese expansion in the Pacific has long since passed, and Allied forces are advancing across the theater. For 2 years, U.S. Admiral Chester Nimitz's island-hopping strategy has driven American forces ever closer to Japan itself. Only islands of strategic value are seized. The rest are bypassed. In late 1943, the U.S. captures Tarawa, followed by the Marshalls in February 1944 and the Marianas in June. Yet the bloody fight for Peleliu in September 1944 gives American commanders a chilling preview of how brutal the remaining island battles might become. Against this backdrop, the next target is chosen. The tiny island of Iwo, barely 7.2 kilometers long and only 0.8 to 4 kilometers wide. It appears insignificant on a map, but its position, halfway between Tokyo and U.S. air bases in the Marianas, gives it immense value. Iwo Jima could serve as a base for B-29 escorts, emergency landings, and search and rescue operations. And, crucially, it is part of the Tokyo Prefecture sovereign Japanese soil. The U.S. hopes its capture will deliver both strategic and psychological blows. For the operation codenamed Operation Detachment, the U.S. assigns the 5th Amphibious Corps, including the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Marine Divisions. Nearly 100,000 men and 700 ships prepare for what commanders expect to be a 5 to 10-day battle. Defending Iwo Jima are approximately 21,000. Japanese troops of the 109th Infantry Division under Lt. Gen. Kuribayashi Tadamichi, who has carefully studied the Battle of Peleliu. Instead of trying to crush the Americans on the beaches or relying on costly banzai charges, he plans a grim war of attrition. His island bristles with tunnels, caves, and hidden bunkers, forming 2 massive defensive belts. His instructions to his men are stark. Fight to the last and take at least 10 enemy lives each. 3 days of naval bombardment, far short of the 10 that Marines requested precede the landing. At 9 a.m., Marines hit 6 landing beaches, initially meeting surprisingly light resistance. Beyonce Altoim, the Marines break through toward Afield No 1, and the 28th Regiment begins isolating Mount Su. But by the end of D-Day, only 1/3 of planned objectives are secured. Airfield? No. 1 falls on D+1, but resistance intensifies everywhere else. The quarry becomes a killing zone, and the slopes of Suribachi bristle with reinforced bunkers. Japanese commanders urge their men to fight to the death. By D+2, heavy rain, wind, and kamikaze attacks on U.S. ships compound the Marines' problems. On land, 1 Marine company of 240 men is reduced to just 18 fit for duty. Weapon malfunctions caused by volcanic sand and water plague the troops. Still, the Marines grind forward, scaling Suribachi's slopes and pushing into the first Japanese defensive belt. Kuribayashi's defensive system is unlike anything American forces have faced. Hundreds of interconnected bunkers, caves, and hidden firing points allow Japanese troops to move unseen, withstand bombardment, and attack at night. Some underground complexes house hundreds of troops with food, fuel, and water stockpiled for months. The Marines countered by firing illumination shells throughout the night to disrupt Japanese infiltration attempts. The garrison at Suribachi quietly withdraws into the northern lines hours before the Marines' final assault. The summit is taken with unexpectedly light resistance. 2 American flags are raised, creating one of the most iconic photographs of the century. Suribachi's fall does not end the battle. The assault on Airfield No. 2 bogs down amid mines, anti-tank guns, and unyielding bunkers. U.S. tanks are often disabled, leaving infantry to clear positions with grenades and flamethrowers. The 4th Division finally clears the quarry, but runs into an even more formidable complex ahead. The Mitgrinder comprised of Hill 382, Turkey Knob, and the amphitheater. Progress slows to mere meters at a time. The Japanese fight to the last man, and American tanks crush cave entrances or churn their treads over foxholes. Survivors recall horrific scenes of men being buried alive or crushed beneath armor. The Americans seize Airfield No. 2 on February 28th, but elsewhere advance stalls. Fierce hand-to-hand fighting continues over hills 362B and 362C. Casualties mount: 3,000 Americans killed and 13,000 wounded. Japanese losses reach 14,000, with only about 7,000 defenders remaining. Fake uniforms, booby-trapped corpses, and nighttime assaults deepen the Marines' sense of danger. The psychological toll becomes severe. Fresh replacements arrive, many with no combat experience. After 2 days of rest, the Marines unleash a massive artillery barrage, 22,500 shells in 1 hour, yet gain only a few dozen meters. Realizing the Japanese have mastered the U.S. attack pattern, General Erskine orders an unexpected dawn attack without artillery. It works. Hill 362C falls, creating what becomes known as Cushman's Pocket. But that night, a desperate Japanese force of 1,500 men launches a final unauthorized banzai charge. Most attackers are cut down by Marine firepower. The meat grinder finally falls. The front collapses into isolated strongpoints. Kuribayashi retreats with his remaining 1,500 men to a final redoubt that Marines later call Bloody Gorge. Combat fatigue sweeps through U.S. units. SWAT today is recognized as PTSD. Loudspeakers broadcast calls for surrender, and letters from Japanese posts are distributed, but they have little effect, though the island is declared secure on March 14th. Kuribayashi and his last survivors fight on from an underground blockhouse. Artillery cannot be used due to proximity to U.S. lines. Submarines with flamethrowers and demolition charges slowly destroy the position. On March 23rd, Kuribayashi sends his final message: "Goodbye from Iwo." His fate remains unknown. He likely died in a final attack or committed suicide. On March 26th, a last group of 200 to 300 Japanese troops breaks out toward Airfield No. 2 in a doomed assault. It is quickly crushed. The battle is over.